everyone, I'm Sarah of Rich Textures Crochet and welcome. This is week 1 of the Crazy for Cables Blanket Crochet Along, so welcome if you are joining me for that. If you haven't heard of the Crazy for Cables Blanket Crochet Along, be sure to check out the direct link down in the description of this video where you will find all the information. This is the Crazy for Cables blanket that you'll find here in this photo. There's lots of other photos on my website at richtexturescrochet.com, and we are going to start by working square 1 of this blanket. The blanket is made up of 5 different cabled patterns. Today we're going to be working on the narrow cable square, which you can see here in front of you is a fairly simple square to work, featuring these lovely crochet cables that run along it. For the blanket today, you're going to make 4 of these narrow cable blanket squares. For mine, I am working with we'll be making 2 squares in this olive green and then 2 squares in this antique cream color. This, of course, is my finished blanket that you're seeing here. So for the blanket in total, you're going to need about 5,000 yards of a worsted weight, medium weight yarn. I use the Pound of Love by Lion brand. There is about, let me see here, 1,020 yards per ball. I used about 2.5 balls of yarn of this Pound of Love in my color A, which is this olive green color, and then 2 balls of the antique white for the blanket. You're also going to need a 5mm crochet hook. You can find a free copy of the written pattern on my website at richtexturescrochet.com, and the direct link is there for you in the description of the video. So thank you so much for joining me. While you're here, I invite you to subscribe, take a look around. There's lots of other free crochet patterns and crochet stitch tutorials here on this channel. Patterns for blankets, hats, scarves, you name it. I'm sure you'll find something here that you'll enjoy. Now our square today is worked in rows. So we're going to start by making a slip knot and then by working a foundation chain. Now my finished squares for this crochet along measured approximately 10.5 inches by 10 or 10.5 inches. And if you would like to change the size of your square, you may have to do a little bit of math, and what I recommend doing, and it'll be a little bit clearer when we start the tutorial, is you're just going to add stitches in between each of the narrow cables. So I have 5 narrow cables in total. You'll want to add stitches in between each one, making sure that you're adding the same number of stitches in between each one so that it is fairly symmetrical. So you're going to start for my square for the 10 inches. I began by chaining 46. Once you have that foundation chain worked, you're going to begin row 1 by working a single crochet into the second chain from your hook, and then a single crochet into each stitch all the way across. Your chain 1 never counts as a stitch, so at the end of this row you're going to have a total of 45 stitches. At the end of row 1, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 2, we're going to work another row of single crochet stitches. Your chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so you're going to single crochet into that first stitch and single crochet into each stitch all the way across. You'll also note that in this pattern, all of your even rows, so your rows 2, 4, 6, 8, and so forth, all of those rows are a return single crochet row. So they'll always follow this pattern of working a single crochet in each stitch. At the end of row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. We're now going to begin our cable stitch pattern in row 3, and just so you know, it is a little bit more complicated working this first row just because there's a little bit more counting, and then the rows do get easier as you go along because you'll know exactly where to place your hook. There's just a little bit more counting here. So for row 3, we're going to start by working a single crochet into our first stitch. You're then going to work a front post double crochet around the posts of each of the next 2 stitches, but 2 rows below. So you can even just draw a line from row 1 to row 2 and just consider these to be one kind of single stitch. You're going to be working down around the post of the row 1 stitches. So work a front post double crochet, yarn over, bring your hook in front, insert your hook around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below from front, around back and out through the front again. Yarn over and drop a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 more. You're going to do that once again around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. You're then going to work a single crochet into the next stitch. Now you're skipping the 2 stitches up of that previous row because you've worked these 2 front post stitches in front of them. So you're working a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. We're now going to work our first narrow cable. To work the narrow cable pattern, you're going to work a front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. So if you're looking at row 1, an easy way to count this is from your previous front post stitch, skip those next 2 stitches because you've worked your single crochets up top, and then work your next front post double crochet around the post of that next stitch. Single crochet into the next. You're then going to work a front post double crochet 2 stitches together, working around the post of the previous stitch 2 rows below, skipping the next stitch, and then around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. And I say the previous stitch because, again, if you're drawing that line from your row 2 up through your row 1, you've worked that single crochet stitch, so you've already worked in it. So we're working around the post of the next stitch immediately after that last front post stitch. So insert your hook around the post of that next stitch, previous stitch down below, yarn over and drop a loop and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's the first part of the double crochet 2 together. Skip the next stitch 2 rows below and yarn over, insert your hook around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. 3 loops left on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. You're then going to work a single crochet into the next stitch up top and finish off this cable pattern by working a front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. You're then going to work a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and repeat. Front post double crochet around the next post of the next stitch 2 rows below, single crochet into your next stitch, and front post double crochet 2 stitches together, beginning with that previous stitch 2 rows below, skipping the next stitch and finishing off the 2 together around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. Single crochet into your next stitch, and work a front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. We're going to continue across in row 1. You're going to work a single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches this time. And then work your narrow cable pattern. Front post, double crochet around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. Single crochet into the next stitch. And work a front post double crochet 2 stitches together just as you did before, skipping that stitch in the middle. Single crochet into the next stitch and finish the cable off with a front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below. You're then going to single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, and you're then going to repeat. If you come all the way back to the start of your cable, you're going to repeat 2 more narrow cables with 2 crochets in between. So yarn over, front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, front post double crochet 2 stitches together, and single crochet, followed by your front post double crochet. Single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches and repeat. You're going to finish off that repeat with a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. You're going to have 3 stitches left. We're going to work a front post double crochet around the post of each of the next 2 stitches 2 rows below, and finish off the row 3 with a double crochet into the top of that final stitch. That brings you to the end of row 3. You can chain 1, turn your work, and for row 4, as I mentioned, you're going to single crochet into that first stitch and single crochet into each stitch all the way across. At the end of row 4, your single crochet row, you can chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 5, we're going to continue working cable patterns. You're going to begin by working a single crochet into the first stitch. You're then going to work a front post double crochet in each of the next 2 front post stitches 2 rows below. So here's where it gets a little bit easier. We're always working our front post double crochet stitches into the front post stitches that are 2 rows below. So yarn over, insert your hook around the post of that first front post double crochet, complete the front post stitch, and repeat around the post of the next. You're then going to work a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, remembering that you're skipping those stitches in behind your front post double crochets. Next, work a front post double crochet around the post of the next front post double crochet stitch. You're then going to work a front post double crochet working around the post of the next double crochet 2 together. So yarn over and bring your hook in front of your work and insert your hook around the post of that front post double crochet 2 together, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 more to complete that front post double crochet. Up top, you're skipping the 2 stitches behind your front post stitches and single crocheting in the next stitch. You're then going to work once again a front post double crochet again around the post of that front post double crochet 2 together. So it might feel a little awkward. You're bringing your hook back and inserting it once again under that previous stitch. You're then going to finish off with a front post double crochet around the post of the next front post stitch 2 rows below. Single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, and you're going to repeat that narrow cable. Front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch, front post double crochet around the post of the next double crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next stitch, and front post double crochet around the post of the previous front post double crochet 2 together, front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch. You're then going to work a single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches and work your narrow cable pattern. Front post double crochet, front post double crochet around the post of the next 2 together, single crochet, and the next 2 front post double crochets. Single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, and work your narrow cable stitch. Front post double crochet around the post of the next stitch 2 rows below, front post double crochet around your 2 together stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet around the post of that same 2 together stitch, and front post double crochet around the post of the next front post stitch. Single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches and repeat. Once you come all the way across, you're going to finish off with that single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, followed by a front post double crochet around the posts of each of the final 2 front post stitches 2 rows below, single crochet into your final stitch, chain 1. Your row 5 is then complete. You can turn your work, and for row 6, work a single crochet into each stitch all the way across. At the end of row 6, you're going to chain 1, turn your work. And now for the rest of this cable pattern, you're going to repeat your rows 3, 4, 5, and 6 until you reach row 52. So your row 3 began with your single crochet. The only difference is that you're going to be now once again working your post stitches around the posts, the front post stitches of those stitches below. So again, there's not as much counting. Always be working your front post stitches around the front post stitches 2 rows below. So repeat your rows 3, 4, 5, and 6 until you reach 52 rows. You should have a square pattern in front of you that measures about 10 by 10. If you need to work fewer rows or more rows to get that square pattern, you can go ahead and adjust the pattern as needed. But at the end of that row 52, you're going to meet me back here and we're going to work a simple edging around our square to make them easier to join. So meet me back here at the end of row 52. So once you have completed your narrow cable square and you've worked a total of 52 rows, this is what your work is going to look like from the beginning through to the end. Now, if you needed to add some more rows or take off some rows so that it was a square, that's perfectly all right. I worked the total of 52 rows. You're then ready to begin a simple edging around your square. You're going to start by taking your yarn, and if you have detached it and woven in all of your ends as I have, you're just going to attach it into the top right corner. I worked with my right side facing. So attach your yarn into the top corner. You're then going to begin working a single crochet edging all the way around. You're going to start by, in the first stitch at the top of your square, you're going to work 2 single crochet stitches. You're then going to work a single crochet into each stitch all the way across to the next corner. When you come all the way across the top of your square, work that final single crochet into that last stitch. You're then going to work 1 more single crochet into the corner and then turn your work so that you're working along the rough edge. Now working along the rough edge, you're going to work 46 single crochet stitches evenly all the way across. So I'm going to start in the corner. Once again, there's 1, and then continue working until you have 46 single crochet stitches all the way across. If it helps to place a stitch marker so that you can work half on one side, half on the other, you may do that. Otherwise, I'm just inserting my hook where it feels comfortable down the side of my square. So 46 single crochet all the way across to the next corner. Once you come all the way across that first rough edge, you're going to work your final stitch there in the corner. You're then going to work 1 more in the corner. So you have 46 along the rough edge, 1 more. You're then going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across. So starting in that corner again, and then single crochet in each stitch all the way across the bottom of your square, what would have been the bottom. Now, just as you did before, you're going to continue all the way across the bottom, working a single crochet in each stitch. You'll then work 1 single crochet stitch into your corner stitch to here, then work 46 more single crochet, 46 single crochet stitches all along your rough edge, and you're then going to join in a slip stitch up in that top corner. And I'll continue around here and then finish off over in that final corner. Once you've finished working the bottom and that final rough side, you work one final stitch into that corner at the very end and then join with a slip stitch into the top of your first stitch. You can then fasten off, and you're then going to repeat those steps for each of your blanket squares, so each of your narrow cable squares, and then set them aside, and we will join them together with the rest of the blanket very soon. So thank you so much for joining me and learning how to make this narrow cabled blanket square. Once again, if you haven't checked it out yet, you may want to follow along so that you can complete the rest of the Crazy for Cables crochet blanket. And all the details there are linked in the description of this video for that crochet along that we're currently working on. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, happy crocheting. Bye.